So hello guys, I'm today with Honda Civic, I think it's 8 model or something like that, more or less. It is a 1.8 petrol engine and gasoline engine, and today we'll replace the brake rotors or brake discs, or whatever else you want to call them. You see, they're not really that bad, but well, if you want you can replace them. As well, the brake pads, they're a little bit worn out. And for that reason we bought some parts, bought TRW, as well the brake pads. To be honest, I was shocked because they came without any special bolts to replace the old ones. That's weird, usually I get one of those. And first thing first, well, go inside the car. Since you're working with the rear wheels, well, you have to take, I suggest you take down the handbrake and and put in the first gear, and that's about it. So I'll just put some stones under the front tires so the car doesn't move. And then so one more safety thing, you can use your stock jack, but you have to put something under there so if you're working on soft ground it can still stable. And usually when you work with the brakes, well, I suggest you to get in here, and next thing we'll just open the brake fluid cap. Well, has some better flow sometimes. It's a good idea. You see here is like some, so when it's going a little bit up, so it has some air there. Probably you can skip this step, but I'm just used to do it. The first thing, just loosen the nuts, 19 mils of this one, or stock part, whatever else, stock socket or whatever else. But if you have some leverage like this one, you just stick it one in here and then should pop open here without any problems at all. But what I can say that these are quite a bit tighty. So maybe this will be challenging for you. Maybe you don't have any sort of leverage, you can use a stock, this one, the socket handle, and put some pipe on top of it, and then they should come really easily away. When they are loosened, you can lift the car. Okay, I'm not used to like this one, usually working with different sort of jack stands, but alright. Just make sure that you lift the car up so the tire starts to move freely. That's what you want. Don't need much higher than that. Okay, that seems enough. When you're done with this, just remove the bolt. Oh, since they are loosened, you can use some smaller tool. Put this somewhere aside. See, there are no special nuts, so it's alright. Okay, before you remove all nuts, well, maybe just make sure the car is stable. Try to move it. So you see the jack stand is kinda alright there. You will be able to work here. Yeah, forgot about doing the little test there, because sometimes when you're lifting car up, these little jack stands can actually a little bit move with the car. That can be dangerous. Then you can just take away the wheel, and for safety reason just put it under your car so it falls, it doesn't damage that core but just the wheel. So this is the hub with the bolts and nuts, and as you see you will just need to work with this part and this part, that's about it. And behind there, so these are the most basic bolts for just removing the brake pads. But if you want to work with brake rotors, you must go deeper there. Yeah, you have to work with this bolt, this little screw here, and down below there's one more, same, you can see that, and that's about it. Then you'll be able to put all this part away, probably just hang somewhere so it does not break the brake lines here. That's about it. But before you do that, well, you can try to open these ones to see if you can actually open these little screws. Sometimes it's really hard. So next, well, looking like you need PH2, this little bit for the screwdriver. From my experience, I suggest you just to tap a few times here. Looks like a lot of dust coming out. The reason why you should do this is because the rust sometimes just tend to break loose when you do like that. Sounds pretty drastically, but it's alright. You can put as well some WD-40 or some sort of rust breaker, but in many cases it will not get through there because it needs to go through the behind, but there is this dust protector. So don't worry when you're hitting like that, because you cannot break anything. Only your fingers. When you a little bit try this one, well, my suggestion to use some impact drivers with hammer functions, because, well, often these doesn't come out really easy, so this is the way how to do it. You can as well try without any impact driver, but that's my suggestion, to work with this kind of stuff there. So let's try out and see if it will help. Yeah, they come really easily out without any problem. So this is good part. Anyway, when you like check this one out, you can, I think, just move on to brake pads and the brake caliper and all the brake support, and just remove this one, since you confirmed that this will come easily out, so you will be able to do this work too. What is that? Why it's not in focus at all? So next, let's move for the brakes, for brake pads. So to replace brake pads, actually you don't need to do anything with this. This is the only thing what you need to do for brake pads. I suggest you put some sort of oil just to make a little bit looser. I don't know, but you need to a little bit let soak so it works best. But for this little bolt, for this bolt you will need 14mm socket, and for this you will need around 17mm this spinner, but you can use a little bit smaller one and just use your hand with force. But anyway, that's how you do it. And then just try to open this one. Shouldn't be too hard. This one you will need to later on, so when it starts spinning over. Yeah, you can use as well gloves so you don't actually hit your hands with something. Loosen it. But this came really easily out, so that's alright. Now just open this one. Usually when you replace brake pads, they come with these bolts, but I don't know why this time they didn't come with, so that's weird. But this seems alright. You can reuse this one as well. And then just go down there. Same thing. This as well came really easily out, no problems at all. Put this bolt somewhere safe aside, and then you can actually move this part out. So guys, so it's better to remove this part as well, all the brake pads and everything else, and take it away. It's like locking from this side and from below, so I suggest you to start by removing this little bolt here. It will actually make your life a lot easier. You want to remove the brake pads, and it's kind of easy bolt to open. It doesn't take any kind of strength at all. Plus it's easy accessible. So all you need, just take this out, put it somewhere safe, and it will be a lot easier for you to replace the brake pads, since you will not need to take out handbrake, and sometimes this can be a hard thing to do. And sometimes it's easy thing, so it depends how well you're prepared and whatever else. Then just put something under there. If you have some hammer there, you can a little bit tap this brake support. Sometimes they just stuck there, especially if you have put handbrake before you work with this. Oh man. So let's put some grease there. Probably will help just to move these parts away, since you will replace them anyway. Anywho, just tap this away. Okay, finally it's off. You can put it somewhere there. When it halts, that's alright. See what's there? This is the piston. These are the brake pads. Yeah, you can see these are pretty worn out. You see as well the piston is pretty far out. Both sides not. Yep, this is well pretty close to like that. And so this was a good decision to change these ones. For this part, well, there are two different solutions. One is like using special tool, like this one. You see there are special pins, and these are because you need to wind this inwards, not like just press it in, but wind. So for this is just one solution, and you just like slide this one like that. And before you do anything else, I suggest you just try to wind this in, because if you will not be able to wind this in, then better just install back the old pads, so as at least you can drive with the car. That's like what you want. But if you can wind this back in, then it's alright. You can take as well this aside, so you don't damage these ones. In my case, this is not the best tool for this, because these are a little bit too big and a little bit smaller than these ones. Plus, doesn't fit perfectly in it, but it's not a big deal, since you can still slide this one in and try to rotate it just by holding, and you should just slide in. If the piston will be alright, probably you will be just able to do it with your hands without any extra tools. I know I've done this on Honda as well with the metal piece. Like, if you have some sort of metal piece that kind of fits like here, and you can still rotate this one piston, it can work as well. But looks like this actually fits there a little bit inside, so it is possible to rotate these ones. Probably not the best way, but if you don't have special tool for the car, this will work as well. So you can see the piston has already moved inwards quite a bit, so that's about the good part. Just a little bit slide more in. So you can install the new brake pads there without any problems at all. But since it's rotating really nicely, shouldn't be any problems at all. But remember, this goes with rotating way. If you will try to just push it inwards without rotating, you actually can brake hand brakes and some other parts. All you want, just rotate this one in, so it kind of gets even with the lining around it, and you can install new brake pads. If you think you're kind of done, you always can try and check out with your new brake pads if they will fit. Looks like it's alright, just to give more space. As you see, it was pretty much difficult. Well, I suggest you take 13 mils. You can go behind there and then remove little this bolt here. And that's kind of holding in place this brake line, so you will be able to a little bit hang it more down there, and you'll have plenty of space for everything else. Or other solution is you just take out this little pin from here and then take out your handbrake. But if it is rusted out and hard to get out, probably easier to just remove the little bolt there. Okay, put this little bit bolt aside, and then you can slide this one out pretty much easily, and then you can move this one pretty much aside, and it's kind of not hanging as well on the line. That's as well important, so I suggest you to hang this one, or you can use some sort of support. Some old can, and probably this one will good enough. Yep. Just put something under there so it doesn't hang there, and then you can easily access those two bolts. Both of these bolts are 14 mils, and then you go behind there, and here is the one bolt you need to work with, and there's the other bolt. It doesn't move, just like do like this. See, it kind of started to work there, so moving easily out. Any problem when it's loosened with the other side here, and you can use the same method if it doesn't move by hand. Okay, that's all it, and then just remove these two bolts. It's even so soft that you can remove it by hand. Bolt looks in good condition, that's good. Put it somewhere safe and go with this bolt. Do the same stuff here. Put somewhere safe. Take out this part. Make sure you clean this ones. Put some oil in this moving part, and then of course you can go and work with these bolts. As I showed in the beginning, it was easy to open this one, so no problem. This side already loosened them, so put this somewhere safe, otherwise I don't have any to replace this one, and so this came without any. And then this should come really easily over, as you see, no problems at all. And whoa, this is pretty much damaged, as you see, so it's good that you kind of replace this one. What you want to do, you want to put some anti-corrosion stuff here under there, because these things tend to easily just break off with the rust within time, and clean everything around here and as well this part, and so it's like looks really good. So see it in a minute. just clean everything. So when you're finished with the cleaning, see, I just not thoroughly, but just really basically clean overall everything and put some zinc coating so it doesn't rust that quick. But if it starts to rust, then it will rust anyway, but a lot slower. But then you can take some sort of dissolvent. Yeah, and you need to clean your new brake rotor because it always comes with anti-rust coating and not good for your brake pads and everything. It will not work that good. So just thoroughly clean it, and then that's about it. Make sure you close this one and put safe place. It's really strong stuff. And you can put your new brake rotor on top of it. Make sure you put this in correct place. You cannot put it in wrongly, so that's all right. So next, just put some good old grease on top of the bolt that goes in here to lock this brake rotor in place. I use this sort of grease. Just put something like, I don't know, here and here, and then you can put like your little screws back in place, and then you just take your good old screwdriver and just knock this in place. Make sure you do it evenly so it's kind of fits there nice. Seems alright. You don't need to really over tighten, since as well these bolts will hold this in place. So when you're finished with that part, remove from the top and just add some more oil there in. And then when you're done with that, make sure you put back the good old boot over where it was before. Clean off excessive grease. Make sure it fits there all right and does not come really easily away. Be honest, these will not move really far away, but this boot looks like sometimes to need to be replaced, but overall it's all right. And when you're finished with that part, remember how it was, just put it back as it was before, and it goes like this. Whereas the disc goes through, this goes through. And take your bolts which were there, the bigger ones as well, put some grease over the top, so always good grease, put many places, since it will be always easier to work with your car when time is right. And just slide through, hand tight one bolt, make sure it's in place, and put some grease over, and slide this one into underside where you take it out. It was 14 mils, yeah. Close these down, bad boys. When you cannot use your hands anymore there. Just hand tighten this. Make sure you do it with some strength there, because this part is important if you want that your car is really alright there. Okay. Make sure it doesn't hit anything, you see, it's all right there. Rotation is good, so that's good part. When you finish with that, you can take like this little part and install them back in. And on top of this part, just spread some copper. Now you can do it advanced before you actually install this. It'll be easier. Just clean your hand and then install this one in. and then you can take your new brake pads. As you remember, the one with this acoustic sensor went like this one, and the other side went like this one, so shouldn't be trouble at all. Just slide this back in. That's the way. If it doesn't slide too good in, you can always a little bit tap with a small hammer here and there. It will just slide easily in. So any problem at all, that's why also it's good if you have some grease there. You see, pretty much, well, one thing, there's also a metal part here, so you can hit it. And when you're done with that one, just take your brake support, there's a piston and everything else, and you already wind back in your good old piston in, and just slide this one over here and take your, in my case, old ones, probably you will have the new ones, bolts. So since they are older ones, I suggest you to don't worry about much give some extra grease there and here, so it'll help a lot you in the future next time. And start with one side, locate the place where to screw this in, then try to hand tighten it when it's kind of in. Take the other bolt, well, brace it well, and slide it over here. Would be easier like this part. And you see, this is kind of rotating as well, so that's why you need as well 17 mils. Hold this with 17 mils and just bolt this down. Now you can as well just sit it like that one. Good. It's alright. I will let a little bit more tighten it up, but I want to do it kind of evenly, so down there. Finish this bolting up. Same stuff here. Make sure this is upright. And then just tighten this one a bit harder. And that's about it from this side, how to replace brake pads and brake rotors. Okay, I'm gonna finish with this. Check out if these are still in place, the rubber bands over top, so no dust come in there. If it's alright, that's alright. Then you can go, and if you remove like this little line here, just go slide this through and lock back in place. Some good oil. And this you don't need too much over tighten, since this is just holding the line in place, so tighten it hand tight, a little touch of softness. And for the final thing, you can also put some more thing somewhere where you didn't put it before. Just gum off the bolts here, and then you can install back your tire. Inside, and rest off what the knee there. Make sure as well there is no grease on the disc. I see just one has a little bit left there. I still have some solvent here, so you got some grease on your brake rotor, just solve this out with solvent and remove all stuff there, so it's alright right now. And just slide back your good old on the disc on your new brake rotor. And so guys, don't forget to close this one. Just close this one, and then okay, I'm finished with this tire, and I'm finished as well with this pistons and tire. That's good. Thanks for watching and goodbye.